He's pulling away, but what if his distance isn't rejection at all, just a secret fear of love that only the right kind of energy can unlock? You're lying awake at 2 a.m., staring at your phone and wondering why someone who seemed so into you now suddenly feels like a stranger. You've sent the little "hey, just checking in" text. You've asked if everything is okay. You've tried to be understanding, to give space, to be patient, and somehow the harder you try, the more they seem to slip away like water through your fingers. But what if I told you there is a hidden psychological pattern at work that does not actually have anything to do with how worthy you are or how much they care about you? What if the very person who is pulling away from you right now is secretly hoping you will unlock a code they themselves do not know how to put into words? Let me put into words something you are probably feeling deep inside. Loving an avoidant person is like trying to hug someone through glass. You can see them. You can sense their warmth. You know there is a real human being on the other side, but there is always this invisible barrier between you. And the most painful part is this: they seem to be the one putting up the glass, yet at the same time they look at you as if they also want to break it and run into your arms. That confusion alone can make you question your own reality, your own needs, and even your own sanity, because you feel both wanted and rejected at the same time. Here is what people do not always tell you about avoidant attachment. These are not cold people who never wanted love. Many of them wanted love so deeply that it frightened them. These are people who learned very early that love can hurt, that closeness can mean losing yourself, that being needed can feel like a trap you cannot escape. Maybe they grew up in homes where love was unpredictable, where affection came with control, where being vulnerable meant being criticized, shamed, or abandoned. Their nervous system is literally trained to see deep intimacy as danger, as something that might swallow them whole if they are not careful. Avoidant people live in a constant inner war. On one side, there is the conscious mind that says, "I am fine alone. I do not need anybody. I am better by myself." On the other side, there is the unconscious attachment system that is silently crying out, "Please do not leave me. Please do not forget me. But also, please do not come so close that I disappear inside this relationship." It is a painful push and pull that often has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the way their body and mind learn to survive closeness. They often do not even fully understand why they react the way they do. They just feel a sudden urge to pull back, to cancel plans, to delay replies, to create distance, and they follow that urge without knowing it is fear, not truth. You experience this as mixed signals. One day they are warm, present, and connected, telling you how much they like you, laughing with you, opening up, maybe even talking about the future. The next day they are distant, short, or strangely busy. It feels like being emotionally whiplashed. You replay every conversation in your mind, trying to find the exact point where you messed up. But the truth is, very often nothing big happened on your side. Something got triggered inside them, and their nervous system chose distance as protection. Now, let us talk about the quiet psychological switches that can flip this whole dynamic. The first psychological trigger is what some researchers call scarcity reversal. Avoidant people are often, without knowing it, drawn toward what feels rare, calm, and not threatening. When you chase them, message them again and again, explain yourself, ask for reassurance, you become emotionally abundant and, in their nervous system, emotionally threatening. They feel like you are everywhere, like your energy is surrounding them, like they have no room to breathe. But when you pull back in a real way, not as a trick, you become scarce, grounded, and interesting again. Here is the part almost everyone gets wrong. This is not about playing games, pretending you do not care, or using fake silence to punish them. This is not about ghosting them back or using dry replies to win. This is about shifting which part of their inner system is activated. You are not trying to trigger their fear and defense system. You are speaking instead to their exploratory system, the part of them that wants to reach out, that wants to learn, that wants to move toward you because they are curious, not because they feel chased, cornered, or guilty. When you stop running after them, their brain has room to move from protect and flee mode to explore and discover mode. It is like the difference between being hunted and being invited. When they feel hunted, they hide, they run, they freeze, they shut down. When they feel invited, they may slowly come closer on their own terms. That shift is subtle on the outside, but inside their nervous system, it is huge. It tells their body, I can look at this person without feeling trapped. I can think about them without feeling pressured. I can come near them without feeling like I will be swallowed. A friend of mine discovered this by accident after months of trying to understand their avoidant partner's mixed signals. They were always reading into every pause, every delay in texting, every slight change in tone. They were exhausted by trying to decode what each silence meant. They would stay up at night, wondering if one word they said in a conversation earlier that week had scared them away. Their entire emotional climate started to revolve around whether this person was leaning in or pulling away. One day they reached a breaking point and decided to stop making the relationship the center of their life. Not to punish their partner, but to save themselves. They realized they had slowly abandoned their own interests, their own hobbies, their own friendships, in the name of trying to keep this connection alive. And even then, they still felt like they were losing it. That was the moment they realized something had to change. They started rock climbing. They joined a book club. They planned solo trips and spent weekends exploring new places alone. They took themselves out to cafes, sat with a book, and let themselves enjoy their own company again. They signed up for a class they had always been curious about but never had time for. They began rebuilding parts of their identity that had nothing to do with being chosen or not chosen by this person. They were not trying to make their partner jealous. They were not posting to get a reaction. They were trying to remember who they were before anxiety took over their heart. 3 weeks later, something interesting happened. Their partner sent a simple text. It was a photo of a book with the message, "This reminded me of our conversation about philosophy." No apology, no big emotional speech, just a bridge. Then more small messages followed, questions about the climbing adventures, curiosity about the new things they were doing. After a while, their partner suggested they meet up for coffee and catch up properly, as if they were discovering them again for the first time. The psychological truth behind this was clear. Their partner was no longer defending against their emotional energy, because that energy was no longer pressing against them. For the first time, the avoidant partner could be curious about them, instead of feeling cornered by them. Curiosity can only grow where pressure has been removed. When you stop sending all of your emotional energy in their direction, they stop needing to build walls just to feel like they can breathe. Here is the second trigger that quietly rewrites the script. Emotional regulation becomes deeply attractive to avoidant people because to their system it means safety. Their attachment system is always on the lookout, scanning for signs that you might become overwhelming, demanding, or emotionally out of control. They are afraid that your feelings will become their prison, that your pain will become their responsibility, that your need for closeness will erase their sense of self. When a friend's avoidant girlfriend would go quiet for days, their old pattern was panic, then anger, then pleading. They would send messages like, "Are you okay? Did I do something wrong? Please just talk to me. I need to know what is happening. I cannot handle this silence." Each message came from fear and love, but to her body it confirmed an old fear. Getting close means I will have to manage someone else's emotions all the time. It felt heavy, even when it was meant as care and concern. Then this friend learned something important. Their emotional stability was far more attractive to her than their emotional intensity. Intensity felt like a wave that might drown her. Stability felt like a shore she could come back to when she was ready. They began to understand that love is not only about how much emotion you feel, but also about how well you can hold those emotions without turning them into pressure for the other person. The next time she went quiet, they did something different. They still felt their own fear, but instead of exploding it outward, they held it. They noticed their racing thoughts, their urge to double text, their impulse to demand clarity, and they chose to breathe instead. They lived their life. They worked, saw friends, cooked dinner, went to the gym, read books, watched shows they enjoyed. They did not pretend they did not care, but they did not let their fear run the show. When she finally resurfaced, they responded with warmth, but not with panic, not with huge relief, not with drama, and not with a long interrogation. No 10-paragraph message asking where she had been, no guilt, no emotional explosion. Just a simple, warm reply, something like, "Good to hear from you, how have you been?" Her nervous system noticed something it had never felt before with them. A person who could handle her need for space without turning it into chaos. She felt something new, a person who could feel their own feelings but not dump them all over her. That signaled safety. It told her, I can breathe near this person, I can step back and they will not fall apart. I can come closer and they will not crush me with their fear. That kind of emotional steadiness is rare for someone who is used to relationships filled with emotional storms, demands, or silent resentment. Within days, she was the one asking for deeper talks. She started to open up about why she pulled away, about old memories, about fears of losing herself in relationships, about how in past connections she always felt like she had to give and give until there was nothing left. She began to show more of her inner world, not because she was pushed, but because it finally felt safe enough to do so. Safety for an avoidant does not mean no emotions. It means emotions that do not become weapons or cages. This is the paradox when you love someone with avoidant patterns. The more you grab onto them out of fear, the more their nervous system tells them to run. The more you take steady care of yourself, the more their nervous system begins to see you as safe, interesting, and emotionally grounded. The same love you were trying to show them in anxious messages now reaches them more clearly through your calm presence and your steady life. Love stops feeling like a demand and starts feeling like an option. You might be thinking, so do I just never express my feelings? Do I just stay quiet and distant? The answer is no. You still get to have needs. You still get to want closeness, communication, and consistency. But the way you bring those needs into the relationship changes. Instead of demanding, chasing, or proving, you start to express from a place of self-respect and self-worth. You stop trying to convince them that you are worth staying for and start living like you already know that you are. You can say simple things like, I really enjoy our connection and I would like to hear from you more often, but I also respect your space. Or, when you go quiet without saying anything, I feel confused. I do not need constant contact, but I do need some clarity. Or, I care about you, but I also have to take care of myself, so if this pattern continues, I may need to step back. These kinds of statements are calm, clear, and honest. They show emotional maturity instead of emotional threat. Over time, if the avoidant person is even a little bit willing to grow, these signals of safety and self-respect can help their system relax. They may still need space. They may still shut down sometimes. But slowly, they begin to learn that being close to you does not mean losing themselves. They learn that your emotions do not have to be their prison. They learn that love can feel like breathing, not suffocating. They may begin to give you small signs of trust, like sharing something personal, texting first, or admitting when they feel overwhelmed. And there is another important truth here. Sometimes, no matter how calm, grounded, and patient you are, the avoidant person will still choose distance. They may not be ready to face their fear of intimacy. They may not want to do the work of looking at their patterns. They may prefer the safety of independence over the risk of real closeness. In those moments, your emotional regulation is not a tool to win them back. It is a way of taking care of yourself and your heart. Because at the end of the day, this whole journey is not just about learning how to pull an avoidant person closer. It is also about learning how to pull yourself back to yourself. It is about remembering that you are not a hunter chasing love through the dark. You are not a beggar standing outside the door of someone's nervous system, waiting for scraps of attention. You are a human being who deserves someone whose nervous system can eventually meet you halfway, someone who can lean in as you lean in. So if you are lying there at 2 a.m., staring at your phone and wondering what you did wrong, take a slow breath. It is not all your fault. You are not too much. You are not impossible to love. You are standing in front of someone who learned to survive by running from the very thing they also deeply crave. Your job is not to chase them into the shadows. Your job is to stand in your own light, to speak in a calm and honest voice, to live a full life that does not revolve around their responses, and to let the ones who can meet you be the ones who stay. The third trigger is the most powerful of all because it quietly passes their unconscious safety test. People with avoidant patterns are always, often without knowing it, testing if you will become too much for them. Every message, every call, every moment of closeness is being scanned by their nervous system. Their mind is asking simple but very intense questions. Will this person respect my space and freedom? Will they try to change me or control how I feel? Will they make me responsible for their joy, their pain, their emotional balance? When you stop trying so hard to move closer and instead start genuinely enjoying the bond as it is, without pushing for more, you silently pass a test they did not even know they were giving you. You show them that you can care deeply without swallowing them. You prove that you can love them without trying to own them. You become someone who chooses connection but does not cling to it. Inside their mind, something very specific begins to happen, even if they never speak about it. When you stop chasing, when you stop trying to fix the distance, they go through a kind of phantom limb effect in the relationship. It is like when someone loses a limb but still feels it there. In emotional terms, they suddenly notice the absence of your energy. They had grown used to your presence, your messages, your emotional warmth, your willingness to talk things through. They had gotten used to knowing that you were always there, always available, always ready to respond. When that energy steps back, a space opens up. There is now a quiet gap where your constant emotional availability used to be. At first, they may not even understand what feels different. They might feel a little strange or unsettled, and they may not connect it to you right away. But slowly, they start to notice that something is missing, that something is the emotional field you used to create around them. The important part is this: the empty space they feel does not feel like a threat. Your presence, especially when you are trying hard to get close, could sometimes feel overwhelming to their nervous system. It could feel like pressure. It could feel like expectation. It could feel like demand. But your absence has a different flavor. The gap you leave behind feels interesting. It feels curious. It feels like a mystery they want to explore, not a danger they need to protect themselves from. An avoidant friend once said something that explains this very well. When she stopped trying to move closer to me, I finally had room to miss her. And when I finally had room to miss her, I understood that I actually wanted her in my life. This is the paradox that confuses so many people. The more you pressed for closeness, the more their system pulled away. But when you relaxed, stepped back, and stopped chasing, their heart finally had space to notice you. The deeper psychological truth behind this is not pretty, but it is real. People with strong avoidant patterns often feel that they can only choose you when they do not feel chosen by you. They can only move toward you when they do not feel that you are pulling on them. They can only open up their inner world when they do not feel like you are pushing them to open. It sounds unfair, it sounds backward, but it is the way their protection system was built. This is not always about cruelty. It is usually not about manipulation. It is about survival. Somewhere in their past, their attachment system learned a painful rule that emotional intensity equals danger. Strong closeness meant pain. Deep dependence meant risk. Vulnerability meant loss, rejection, or suffocation. So now when someone becomes emotionally intense about them, even in a loving way, their inner alarm goes off. Their system activates all its defense mechanisms. They shut down, pull away, become distant, cold, distracted, or overly logical. They might blame you, blame timing, blame stress, or blame themselves. But under all those reactions, there is fear. When your life no longer revolves around them, when your emotional weather is not completely shaped by their behavior, something new becomes possible. When your energy is focused on your own path, your own improvement, your own joy, they can finally see you clearly. You are no longer a threat to their independence. You are not someone who needs them to carry your emotional world. You are not pushing them to be different from who they are right now. You become someone strong, grounded, and interesting who just happens to move through their world. This is where it gets truly fascinating. When you pull back in a real, authentic way, not as a game, not as a trick, but because you are truly recentering yourself, their brain chemistry literally begins to shift. The stress hormones that spike when they feel watched, pushed, or cornered start to calm down. The nervous system that was in defense mode, always ready to shut the door, begins to relax. They are no longer bracing for impact. In that softer, calmer state, something beautiful can finally rise to the surface. They actually have the space to feel their real feelings for you. Not the fear of you, not the pressure from you, not the guilt, the feelings, care, attraction, affection, curiosity, a sense of emotional safety that they are not used to. One woman described this process in a very clear and simple way. When he stopped trying to figure me out, I finally had space to figure myself out. And when I started to understand myself, I realized I missed him. That is the quiet turning point. When you stop trying to read them all the time, when you stop trying to force conversations about what they feel, they are left alone with their own inner world. And in that inner space, they begin to meet the truth that was there the whole time, that they do care, that they do feel, that they do want you in their life on some level. But here is where it goes even deeper, and this part is usually not spoken about. By the time you truly learn how to handle this dynamic, you are not the same person either. You are not standing in the same place you were when you first started chasing them. You have changed, you have grown, you have seen your own patterns. You begin to notice that your need to chase, explain, prove, or rescue came from your own wounds. You may realize you were trying to earn love, trying to heal old pain through this one person, trying to fix history by fixing them. When you step back, you start to see the situation more clearly. You are no longer begging for closeness. You are asking a quieter question inside. Is this connection truly safe for me? Is this relationship healthy for my heart? Can this person meet me halfway? Or am I always walking the extra miles alone? As you focus more on your own growth, you begin to build a life that is not centered around whether they text, call, or open up. You invest in your work, your hobbies, your friendships, your health, your spiritual and emotional development. You remember parts of yourself that you had pushed aside while trying to understand them. You reclaim your own energy. You find joy that does not depend on their mood. Ironically, this is exactly what makes you even more attractive to an avoidant person. They see someone who cares but is not desperate, someone who can be present but is not clingy, someone who can feel deeply but still stand strong. You become a calm, steady signal in their life, not a loud alarm. Over time, if they are capable and willing, they may start to take small emotional steps toward you. Maybe they initiate more conversations. Maybe they share a little more honestly. Maybe they admit when they miss you or when they feel distant and do not know why. These small openings can feel like miracles when you know how hard it is for them. So yes, the third trigger is powerful because it shifts the whole atmosphere of the connection. When you stop pushing, you walk out of the role of pursuer and into the role of chooser. When you stop chasing their heart, you give them room to feel their own. When you stop making them responsible for your emotional world, you become responsible for your own, and that is when your real strength appears. In that place, if they come closer, you can receive it without losing yourself. And if they do not, you can walk forward with your head held high, knowing that your value was never meant to be proven by how much you could convince someone to stay. You've slowly been learning something you were never taught as a child. You've learned how to love without clinging, how to care without trying to control, how to want someone in your life without needing them to want you in exactly the same way. You are starting to understand that real love is not begging, not chasing, not twisting yourself into knots so someone with their own attachment wounds can feel safe. You no longer confuse intensity with intimacy. You no longer confuse anxiety with love. You are realizing that your heart can stay open without being desperate, that you can be soft without being blind, that you can love someone deeply and still refuse to abandon yourself ever again. You've discovered, sometimes through painful lessons, that your worth is not measured by whether a person with emotional walls knows how to receive you. Your value does not depend on whether someone who runs from closeness can finally stay. You are not a test they must pass. You are not a project they need to fix. You are not a reward they earn by doing just enough. You are a whole human being with a life, a soul, and a purpose that existed long before they entered your story. If they cannot hold intimacy, that is their work, not your failure. If they shut down when things get real, that is their fear, not proof that you are too much. You are learning not to put your self-worth in the shaky hands of someone who has never felt truly safe with anyone, not even themselves. You've also realized something else that changes everything. The right person will not make you chase. They will not keep you on an emotional treadmill, always almost close but never fully there. They will not dangle their love like a prize you have to compete for. They will not reward you one day and punish you the next. The right person will not turn your heart into a guessing game. Instead, they will be occupied with something very different. They will be busy trying to keep up with the beautiful, honest, slowly expanding life you are building for yourself. They will notice the way you are growing, healing, choosing better, and they will think, I do not want to lose this. They will meet you halfway because that is where they want to be, not because you begged them to stand there. The silence you once called rejection starts to look different in hindsight. The days when they pulled away, when the messages slowed down, when the calls stopped, used to feel like proof that you were not enough. You replayed every conversation, every moment, wondering what you said wrong, what you should have done differently, how you could have moved or spoken or given more to be chosen. But now you can see that the silence was also a teacher. It gave you room to hear yourself again. It forced you to listen to the parts of you that were tired of begging for crumbs. That silence, which once sounded like, "You are not worth loving," was actually an invitation to turn toward yourself and ask, "Why am I still here?" It was preparation, not punishment. It was a doorway, not a dead end. The space you once called abandonment also takes on a new meaning. When they pulled away, when they went cold, when they disappeared, you felt like you had been dropped, discarded, forgotten. Your nervous system screamed that you were unsafe, unwanted, unlovable. But that space, however cruel it felt, also pulled you out of the trance. It created distance between you and the constant emotional chaos. In that space, you began to remember who you were before your heart started chasing someone who could not even chase their own healing. That distance gave you the chance to relearn your own rhythm, your own interests, your own dreams. It was not just them leaving. It was life giving you the room to step back into yourself. You can keep chasing someone who is running if you wish. You can keep running after their attention, running after their approval, running after that moment you hope will finally feel like safety. You can exhaust yourself trying to catch someone who does not even know what they would do with you if you actually reached them. Or you can become someone worth chasing, not in a game-playing way, not by pretending you do not care, but by actually building a life that is rich, peaceful, grounded, and full whether they stay or go. When you pour energy into your growth, your healing, your friendships, your hobbies, your purpose, your presence becomes rare. And rare things are not chased because they play hard to get. They are chased because they are hard to replace. The right person will not make you question your worth day after day. They will not keep you wondering where you stand. They will not leave you decoding every text, every pause, every sigh. They will not make you feel like loving you is a chore or a challenge. The right person will bring clarity, not constant confusion. With them, you will not have to beg for consistency, because consistency will be something they naturally offer. They will not treat your love as too much. They will see your depth as a gift, your empathy as a strength, your honesty as a blessing. You will still have human flaws and human arguments, but you will not spend every day fighting for your right to exist in their life. If you're still here, still listening, it means a part of you is ready for a different story. So subscribe if you haven't yet, because we are going to keep diving deep into the psychology of attachment, the truth about self-worth, and what it actually looks like to create relationships that feel safe, steady, and real. We're going to talk about why you chase emotionally unavailable people, why you ignore the red flags, why you feel guilty for having needs, and how to slowly, gently, powerfully change those patterns. We're not just talking about romance. We're talking about how you relate to yourself, your family, your friends, and your future. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me in your own words what part of this message hit you the hardest. Was it the idea that silence was actually preparation, not rejection? Was it the realization that you've been trying to convince someone to love you instead of becoming someone who doesn't need convincing? Was it the reminder that the right person will not ask you to beg for bare minimum effort? Write it out. This is not just about engagement. Writing your thoughts helps your brain and heart integrate the shift. Sometimes, the moment you put it into words is the moment the cycle finally starts to break. The more you become that version of yourself, the one who is whole, the one who is honest, the one who is no longer begging for love, the more your life begins to shift. Some people will fall away because they only knew how to relate to the wounded you. Others will step closer because they recognize the strength in your softness and the boundaries in your kindness. But through it all, you will know something you did not know before. You will know that your worth was never in their hands. It was always in yours.